virus of any major country. In fact, just a few hours ago, in a grim milestone, we officially passed China and Italy to have more confirmed cases than any other nation in the world. We've also crossed 1,000 fatalities.
Because we were unprepared, Chris. This is an unprecedented, once-in-a-century crisis. Not since 1918 have we seen anything like this, but it was not unanticipated. Those of us in the prior administration remember all too well the experience we had with the Ebola virus emanating from West Africa in the fall of 2014. Frankly, that was a fraction of what we are dealing with now, but the situation we have is a nationwide disaster. Normally, when we deal with disasters in this country, they're state by state, region by region. This is a nationwide disaster, and unfortunately, our government has been slow to respond.
Well, having been very much involved with the development of such plans back in 2007, 2008, on a federal, state, and local level, it's a preposterous statement, has no bearing to reality, but, why are we surprised? I think the key thing is that we continue to get these mixed messages based on ignorance, a lack of understanding of the science, and just a complete misunderstanding of what the message should be to Americans. The problem is he's using that kind of information to justify in some way or explain the incompetencies of what this administration has been doing or not doing in preparation for something that we knew was coming. And even when we got the early warnings, we still messed up the entire process of getting the appropriate testing done and distributed properly. And now we have mixed messages, which are just confusing states and localities. And the biggest problem of all, of course, is a complete active melting down of America's health and hospital system. It is staggering in its breadth and scope of incompetence.
With the coronavirus, we don't know entirely what that means for the future.
An extraordinary day as the dominoes began falling early. First, the conference tournaments.
We believe that it's the right decision to make.
And late today, March Madness, college basketball's premier event, canceled, along with all other NCAA winter and spring championships.
So no Rudy Gobert, but the
A second NBA player with the coronavirus diagnosed today, Donovan Mitchell, a teammate of Utah Jazz center Rudy Gobert, whose positive test led to the suspension of the NBA season last night, just days after he'd made light of the NBA's social distancing policy.
It's not a basketball issue. It's not an NBA issue. It's not a March Madness issue. This is the United States. This is a global issue.
Obviously, we're dealing with very trying times. There's no denying that. There's no way to get around that because the games are not going on right now because of the suspensions by the league and what have you. But nevertheless, there's still been a lot of content to engage in and to banter back and forth about. That's what we've been doing. And to be quite honest with you, that's what we plan on continuing to do.
Virus stuff, how you dealing with it?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I hope I can help.
How's it been without sports for a month now?
We are in serious, unprecedented times which call for decisive actions to keep everyone safe. I want to thank the leadership of our local doctors and hospitals for being here with us today to stress the importance of what we're going to tell you. Right now, we are at a crossroads, and we can choose to go down one of two paths. We can choose the path of doing nothing and have rampant infection throughout our city, causing healthcare providers to ration life-saving medical equipment like ventilators, which is what's going on in Italy right now. Or we can choose to take this situation seriously and slow the spread of the virus. We're choosing to take this situation seriously, and beginning at 6 p.m. tomorrow, March 24th, the Safer at Home executive order will take effect for 2 weeks.
Hello, guys. In the next minute or so, at 9:30, I'm going to do a class from home, which is by far the strangest thing I've ever had to do. I mean, it's not the first time, but the first time, and I think this was in theater class, not acting class, but theater class. We kind of did things in between where we actually went to class one day and then had class online the other day. So there was kind of a balance. This is kind of a whole nother thing where it's just, class, just class being on the screen. It's definitely different. It'll definitely be different. It will definitely be a big change. Not quite sure how I feel about it. Kind of mixed. It's acting, so you're basically, you have that connection with that person, and when you're in acting, you have a connection with the person in front of you, and that person has that connection with you, kind of vice versa. And when that connection isn't there, it's just kind of, I don't know, it's just weird. It's just kind of lost. I'm not sure. This is going to be a whole nother thing. Amongst this coronavirus outbreak has started, a lot of things have changed.
This is probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do as an actor. For me, it's always been connecting with the person in front of you, connecting, face to face, having that, connection both mentally and physically. And now it's just being done on a screen. And probably the most challenging obstacle I've ever had to face. But I think despite the challenge, I think overall, I think it could very well be beneficial thing to, I believe it being a beneficial thing. Hopefully this type of technique that we're doing, which is totally new to me, will definitely, give me an extra advantage, especially, if of auditions and all those type of things. It's just been probably, this has been probably one of the most interesting couple of weeks that I've ever had to face. But I think it's something, it's definitely an adjustment. It's an adjustment for, a lot of us in our acting 2 class, and we are just rolling with it as best that we can, and then that's all we can really do. And, we just put our best foot forward and try to work with it and try to bring the best performance out of this very, this very, very weird situation. How were they able to work? How were they able to keep their business up if people don't, like restaurants who thrive on dining in, and they have, the ones that strive on it, they're struggling to make ends meet, have to let people go in order to keep the lights on and keep the business going. A lot of people are unemployed. It's just very sad.
As millions face unemployment, tonight stories from some of the first to be hit hard. Those in the service industry, where more than 7 million workers are facing lost wages, unemployment, even bankruptcy.
COVID-19 is an economic tsunami.
From hotel workers,
I'm a single mom of 3. I really don't know what I'm gonna use to put food on the table.
To restaurant servers.
I was laid off just recently.
To small business owners.
Last time for a while.
Because we do work on tips, a lot of us are left with little to no income.
Most of us don't have a huge cushion to sit on.
Their industry scrambling to adapt after at least 20 states have closed restaurants and bars to dine-in customers.
Do we offer curbside pickup? Is there another creative way to reach people?
Seen dramatic layoffs in our industry. We represent workers in hotels, casinos, restaurants, bars, stadiums, arenas, and virtually everything has closed.
Okay. Social distancing. Yep, it can be a killer.
It's hard to separate people, separate ourselves from each other, because we are so, ingrained in being together and being in crowds. It's hard to ask ask a group of people to separate themselves. You have celebrities that are preaching social distancing in order for us to stop the spread of this virus. But we are so socially distant even before the virus ever came to being. We stick a cell phone in a kid's hands, and they are so hooked on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all this kind of stuff. There's even a movie about it, which is crazy.
I've been asking people how they've been handling this whole thing, the shutdowns and coronavirus and stuff. How you been dealing with it?
It's been good for me.
About the coronavirus stuff. Try to do something productive.
Must be bored.
Yeah. Well, I've been asking folks how they handling it, so I guess I'll ask you how you dealing with it all.
I don't know. I just realized that it's all a bunch of BS.